Hello everybody, welcome back to Safa's Unscripted. Just okay, let me redo that. My apologies, sorry.
I'm keeping this in, bro. I'm keeping it in. You want to be a twat and fumble the bag? I'm keeping it in. Go ahead.
Okay.
Continue going.
Okay, take two. Hello everybody, welcome back to Safa's Unscripted. This is a pretty cool episode we're going to get into. But firstly, before we get into absolutely anything, we just want to say Brett unfortunately got quite sick. He was hospitalized, and we're just wishing him all the best, and hopefully he comes back very soon, and I'm sure he will. But Casual, before we get into this topic, how are you doing? Sad to have no rugby this weekend.
Dude, I've been holding back tears all week long, and you've got a weekend and there's still no rugby, and then you have the build up for another week. To be fair, I'm pretty excited for the build up for next week. Obviously, it's the biggest rivalry in the sport, one of the biggest rivalries in all of sport. I'm really looking forward to it. But obviously, we've been scraping the barrel, digging in our bums for some topics to actually talk about. And we got a little interesting one today. We said it on Wednesday's episode, where it was like, okay, we're going to do two fun ones, get the people to engage a bit. And we've got one out today for you guys, focused on the Rugby Championship. So, Brevan, take us away.
Yeah. So, it's pretty difficult sometimes to try and gather what content you can create. So we were literally just thinking, how can we base this on Rugby Championship, but not similar to what we just did? So we decided we were going to do a all-time...
Wait.
What's wrong?
Wait. There was news that broke today. Let's just quickly talk about it. I don't know if you saw it. Okay. But Ronald McDonald, he has left the All Blacks as the attacking coach. That's the only news that has really come out. Obviously, there's a couple of Springbok guys that have come into the group. I'm not going to say much about it because been very critical. So try to have positive thoughts. I don't know on what merit Steven Kitshoff is there at the moment, and I don't know why Jaden Hendricks is there. But I mean, it is what it is. What's your thoughts on the All Blacks coach dropping out, leaving the job 1 week before the biggest game?
Yeah, literally on the eve, they were literally about to leave for South Africa. It's crazy. Sure, I actually don't. I'm struggling to read the situation. I'm trying to think is this now a good thing or is this a bad thing? Because personally, I don't think the All Blacks were as attackingly dangerous as what we know against England and Argentina. Obviously, in the last game, they looked superb. But I still felt like that they were lacking that something. But at the same time, how does this disrupt the system going into a test week against the Springboks?
Last weekend was by far their best performance, especially in attack. Right, they made small adjustments from the weekend before, and you could see it. They were all over Argentina, and for your attack coach to leave then, we've probably done ourselves a disservice in terms of not watching the interviews about it and knowing the reasons for the decision. That's obviously where the comments going to come in clutch. Please do remember to like and subscribe. We do appreciate you guys. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you at least see out the Rugby Championship? Blows my mind.
I just wonder. Look, I don't think this is facts. I just saw this could be one of the reasons. But I don't know how much the source can be trusted. But it was saying about how their coaching styles clashed in a sense. And it just wasn't working out between the two of them, Scott Robinson and obviously the attacking coach. But then again, I don't know if that's true. But if that is the case, it's very disrupting, especially when you have to now travel.
It could make sense though.
But that's the thing. Imagine this could now make, when things like this creates a bounce back. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
When your back's against the wall, it's always like you just turn up. So I'm struggling to read the situation.
Yeah.
So yeah,
In,
it's
in
one of
the end,
those things.
you could say it could be disruptive, right? But then also it's like, okay, you're going up in your biggest game, 2 weekends in a row. You want the boys to have kind of a clear head, know the exact route that we want to go. And when you have two coaches clashing against each other before big rivalries like this, um, it's not necessarily good. So there's an upside and a downside to it. But anyway, let's get into the fun topic. Talk to us. What is the topic?
Okay.
And then let's
So
get in.
basically, we're just going to be doing an all-time 15 rugby championship squad. So no Northern Hemisphere guys, in case someone goes, "Where's DuPont? Where's?" or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just rugby championship. And spoiler alert, we're not taking prisoners here. Let's just agree. I think everyone in the comments, me and Casual, there are no Argentinians that touch the side. So you will
No.
not be hearing any
If
Grace
we wanted to
charity
have a
case from
charity
them.
case, you go Augustine Crevi at the 2. He's not getting into that 2 jersey.
Yeah,
Case.
definitely not. Definitely not. So anyway, so this is going to be an all-time 15 of Springboks, Wallabies, and yeah, sorry, I've gone blank. But basically the three teams we know. But let's start up front. Obviously the front row. Who have you got in your front row? I mean, we briefly discussed who we have in our teams. And I think
Yeah.
we're gonna upset some people. We're gonna please some
It
people.
upsets a lot
So
of people. People need to remember, the two of us, we are early 20s. So we haven't
yeah.
seen, like my dad was furious that I didn't have in Christian Cullen. And I'm like, I've seen the highlights of this guy, right? I know people say he's the best fullback to ever live. I've not got him there. I haven't even seen the guy play. I've seen
Yeah.
highlights. So don't expect to see guys from the 1920s in this team. So I'm starting off. I know he's probably in the wrong position. I don't care. Okay, I don't care about switching around my props. In my opinion, they should be able to scrum both sides. Owen Franks goes into my number 1 position. I mean, classy. He's got experience. He's done it for years. Yeah, I'm going with him in the 1.
Yeah. I have the exact same one. I completely agree. Did his job, drafted, obviously had a gas tank in him because he just kept going. So I think he's just the guy that did it for ages, and he never
Yeah.
looked like he ever dropped off the pace. He always was just that good. So I mean, he just goes on there because of his class, really. And yeah,
Yeah, it would have either been him or Tony Woodcock, probably. So,
yeah.
I mean, you pick.
Okay. Well, number two, our front row is the same, but we'll quickly go through it. Number two, I have the oak on my bloody tattoo on my calf. He's the legend. We love him. Malcolm
Give them
Marx.
their flowers while they still play. Malcolm
Yeah.
Marx.
And you know
Malcolm
what?
Marx.
You know what's tough though is everyone comes with this argument that he comes off the bench too much. Like, but I don't think people realize that a South African bench is not like, oh, you've been benched. It's like some of those Oaks technically are better players than who's in their starting role, if that makes sense.
I mean, how many times has Malcolm come on at 30, 35 minutes to
Mm,
come and change the game, right?
yeah,
Everyone knows he's the best. He's just playing in the system on the bench. It's not like a Quagga Smith that's clearly better from the bench.
yeah.
Malcolm Marx, if we want him to play 80 minutes, that's
I'd
just
love it. That would be amazing. But yeah, like I said, give the Oak flowers. I feel like injuries have been a bit of a setback recently, but I mean the Oak's just a unit. I mean he's an absolute unit. His jackling for his size and the way he gets around the park at as a heavy Oak, I mean it's insane. The hits he puts in, the carries he puts in, he's just tough as nails. I mean, yeah, Malcolm Marx is just. I can see that guy going down if he continues the way he does as one of the greatest of Springboks of all time for sure.
you just mentioned the jackling. This team of mine will have no issues at the breakdown getting that ball back. I've got a couple of absolute wild dogs in this team. Malcolm Marx being the first one at the breakdown.
Yeah, and three, I think we're gonna have the same again, which we do.
4 as well. We can just
And
skip to
four,
4 as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
three. Frans Malherbe, that was mine. I just
Yep.
feel like I feel like he gets so disrespected, and it could be seen as biased. I get it, and people would probably maybe want to put um, Woodcock at 1 and Franks at 3, but you got to give Malherbe flowers. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, listen, the gist of it all is when you think about South Africa, that we've always been known as this physically dominant team, especially at scrums and mauls. That starts with our props. Okay, I think if you wanted to, you are lucky that we didn't even put in another South African at the number 1 position. The likes of a Kurtzhoff, the likes of a Beeston Tawarira, like, because we've always just dominated at scrum time, right? So, and I think our scrum now is probably the best it's ever been these last 4 years. Now, we haven't won all these rugby championships, and it sounds like a lot of South Africans, and obviously the next one, spoiler alert, it's Jeben Etzebeth in that 4 jersey. But after this, it takes a drastic turn, okay? Because I'm just putting respect on our boys for what we've always known to be the best at. So yeah, maybe three out of the 4 that we just mentioned are all South Africans, and they all still play now. Switcheroo time after this, though. But yeah, I'm just like, give the boys flowers. That we are known for this. We are scrum dominant, physically dominant, always. So yeah, that's the reasoning behind it. And Frans Malherbe has been a massive point of, what do you even call it? Like, he's been a massive contributor to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's such an important part of what I believe a prop's main job is to do, and that's to scrum. Obviously, they have other jobs to do, and people may.
But at every breakdown, every tackle.
But I mean, for a South African perspective, his job is to dominate those scrums, and he does that job perfectly. But anyway, obviously, we have Jeben Etzebeth at 4. It speaks for itself. I mean, I don't think anyone could really argue there, because I have put the guy who they would scream maybe 4 at 5, and I have Retallick at 5. I don't know about you.
Have we copy pasted the same team?
maybe because
this is not good for the content.
I'm sure we'll get to one soon.
Yeah, Brodie Retallick, absolutely insane. Insane. Well, crazy experience. Line-out general. I mean, the guy ran like a horse. He was a bit of a Voldemort lookalike. I mean, he was so good. He was
king of
so
the dummy
good.
as a lock. I mean, remember I used to dummy oaks.
Yeah,
just like
dude,
make gaps and crazy.
He obviously, he was probably a large part in inspiring Jeben Etzebeth as well. Like, the guys, how much old is Brodie Retallick?
I think maybe a couple years.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's over 100 caps, if I'm not mistaken, for the All Blacks.
Yeah, maybe he didn't inspire Jeben, but anyway, I'll just pull that out of thin air. But he was so good. He was so good. I have no issue with people actually comparing Jeben and Retallick. I think they are by far the 2 best locks to grace this earth. Like, obviously, Sam Whitelock up there as well. The partnership between those 2, best lock partnership ever. But imagine you had a partnership of Jeben Etzebeth, the enforcer, and then you have Brodie Retallick to complement him. It's ridiculous.
Insane.
Weird.
Crazy. Yeah.
Do you reckon a team ever wins a lineout with those 2?
Probably not. Are we real? Because they're both so tall, both so explosive, both know the lineout so well. Yeah,
I mean, give them the ball in the back line. Jeben carries about 3 people with him. Gives a little sunny ball over the top for Brodie the horse Retallick to use those long levers of legs that you call them, and he just runs. Dude, he was also quick. Like, he had a lot of meters for a lock.
He was
This class. Anyway, let's go to the Lucy's, because this was actually hard.
It definitely was hard, and people might be screaming at the fact that I've just realized I only have 1 Wallabies in this team. Oh my word. Okay, so basically, it's tough. It's really tough. I've gone, because obviously in South Africa our 6 is the rest of the world's 7, but I've gone with the rest of the world's way. So my 6 is basically South Africa's 7. Okay, so I've, like you said, give flowers where they are due. Pieter-Steph du Toit at 7. That is, I mean, I'm starting to just get on the hype. Not that he's never had a hype train, but just on the hype train of how good and underrated this guy is. He's just a silent warrior, does what he needs to do, and he grafts, and he's now starting to get recognition on social media and media platforms. Then at 7, I went with Richie McCaw. I mean, you cannot not put the guy in. I mean, he would probably captain the side, and he would just be a menace and win me a lot of penalties that should have not been penalties, that type of thing. And then obviously just at 8, I mean, another guy currently playing, but Adi Surveyor. The guy's just going to go down as one of the greatest, I reckon. So I mean, that's my loose trio.
We've actually got a change in our teams, Brett. Brevan. Sorry. We've actually got a little change. Not only one change, we've got 2 changes.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, people are going to hate me at the moment. I went with 2 6s. I went with Peter Steff, right? Well, he's taking the 7 jersey because Richie McCaw is not there for me, right? I had Richie McCaw all day. When I set my list, McCaw was there all day. He had the little C next to his name. He's the captain of the team as well. But I was like, fuck it. I've got so many All Blacks in my backline. I want to give Peter Steff some love, right? He's been World Player of the Year. He's won 2 World Cups, instrumental for us in every single one of them. I know he hasn't really won rugby championships, right? But if you want to go on just winning rugby championships and being a literally just rugby championship team, there would be no Springboks in this team, okay? It will only be All Blacks because they bloody won the thing the whole time. I'm not saying Richie McCaw is bad at all, right? Like, he's got a way better history than Peter Steff du Toit. But I'm biased. I'm throwing in Peter Steff, right? The guy's an absolute tackle machine. He's a workhorse. I don't need Richie McCaw there at the breakdown as well. You know why? Because that's where his specialty was. But I've got Adi Surveyor at number 8, and I've got Michael Hooper at number 6.
Wait, what?
I've got Adi Surveyor at 8 and Michael Hooper at 6.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So
fair.
I don't need McCaw with his sneaky shit at the breakdown because I've either got Malcolm over the ball, or I've got Hooper over the ball, or I've got Adi Surveyor over the ball, right? So I just think I want my dirty work done right now. I want the dirty work done. I've got Francie Malherbe to do that, and I've got Peter Steff to tackle. Those boys, they are making my tackles. I'm not saying Richie McCaw doesn't tackle. He doesn't tackle for shit like Peter Steff to tackle, right? I think this is a killer Lucy's.
It is. I mean, you got to give Hooper flowers as well. The guy was.
He has to be there. He has to be there, in my opinion.
That's tough, though. It is really tough because
if you look at it, in the end, hasn't Australia won more rugby championships than us, and he's been vital?
I think we've won 4. They've won 3. And New Zealand's what, like 16 or 18 or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can get number 5 coming soon. Please, that would be great.
Yeah. Listen, there's been a couple that we should have won, but we absolutely burned it. Okay.
That's been bad.
Yeah.
But
obviously they've dominated this championship. Yeah. And am I salty? Yes, very. In a respectful way. Like, they've blitzed us so many bloody times. But Michael Hooper, I want to give him his flowers. He's been a servant of the game for so long. Obviously played in an amazing trio with David Pocock and George Smith. But he's just been so good. I wish he was still playing. Like, it was him, and I've got another 2 Aussies that I really, really like. I really, really... Okay. Not necessarily in this team. They are in this team, but I didn't say they're in this team. But that I really loved, right? And I'm not a big lover of the Wallabies. But yeah, anyway, that's my Lucy's. Let's move on to the 9-10 combo. Yeah. Probably got the same, right?
I don't think we do. Obviously, 10 Dan Carter. That we have the same. I've done this because it's my turn to be biased, and because he played for the Bulls, and because he's just a champ.
Corin Smith never played for the Bulls.
Oh no, no. I'm actually changing my mind mid-podcast. I cannot. I did it just to be different, and I'm not going to do it. I had Farid Dupree just to be different. He's obviously Frida Priya is just insane and one of the best nines ever to grace this earth, but I can't not give it to Aaron
It's
Smith.
the second
Aaron
best nine to
Smith,
ever grace this earth. Yeah.
yeah, Aaron Smith is insane. He was insane. He's still, I mean, he could probably still do a job for the All Blacks if he wanted. He's just,
He would still be the
I.
best nine in the
The
world.
thing is, like, playing against that Oak was always just such a nightmare because his support play was incredible. Like, if you had an All Black break the line, Aaron Smith was next to him ready for the pass to go and score. His support play was excellent. His passing was the best in the world. Box kicks was sensational. His communication skills to organize defense, sensational. I mean, I can keep going, but yeah, Aaron Smith.
Dude,
Yeah.
literally just his mind for the game. How many times, right, did he catch our rush defense off guard? I mean, just look at the game at the MT Smart, right? Or Mount Smart Arena, whatever, where they blitzed us in those first 25 minutes. They wouldn't have done that without Aaron Smith. He was literally dominating that game. Whether it was quick ruck ball, seeing our defense is out of sorts, getting that ball out, spreading it out wide, doing something creative with it, a little dink over the top, or doing a perfect box kick, or seeing Frans Malherbe is a bit slow to roll out and get back, pass it into him to give them a free penalty, a get out of jail free card. His mind for the game was so good. And I've said it multiple times, like it's not like he had no competition. He was always
Frida
up against
Priya.
nearly the best second choice scrum half ever. Like Peru Ripu was great, TJ Perenara was great, Cam Roygard has been great. Like a lot of people said, Cam Roygard is the next big thing. Cam Roygard didn't even get a sniff while Aaron Smith was there. He played against Fourie Priya, he played against DuPont, and he schooled all of them. He was so good. He was absolutely insane. Aaron
Yeah, he
Smith is
was. And yeah, also who was in his era. I mean, he was so good. He played through multiple eras of the game. I don't know how to explain it. He played against Faf, and then he had a few games against Frida Priya. Like he's just played against so many people. And obviously always been at the top. So
never dropped off as well. He
never.
finished the World Cup with probably one of his best World Cups he's had. Like I
Yeah, he
remember
was
this season. He
sensational.
was absolutely sensational.
Yeah, okay, but we'll move out to the centers now. A bit tricky,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I'm guessing we
it
both
was
agree on Dan Carter, right?
a 10, yeah, definitely. I mean, if
Okay, yeah,
that's
but we can skip past it. I mean, Dan Carter, greatest player to ever play the game. I mean, there's
insane, yeah,
no debate here.
crazy. Okay, well, we'll move to the centers now. This is a bit tricky because now, do you judge it off combinations? Do you judge it off just players? We kind of just did just players. So at 12, I think we have the same Ma and Nonu. Yes? Or did you switcheroo your backline like a chop? Okay, casual. Let the people know what blasphemy things you got up to while making this team.
I sat there, right, and I was like, well, there's this one player that I really loved. Was he the best? Probably not, right? Like the easy choice is obviously Ma Nonu and Conrad Smith. Don't get me wrong, Ma Nonu is in my team. I switcherooed it a bit. He's gone to the outside center position. I know he didn't really play there. Just think about it. I'm playing two inside centers, okay? Just like the Springboks played two outside centers literally last week, I'm playing two inside centers. On the inside, I've decided I want to give a scrum cap Euro some love. I've got Matt Quito at inside center. Yeah, obviously,
Okay.
if I just had to use my brains, no, I wouldn't even go Manonu and Conrad Smith. I'd go Manonu and Jacques Fourie. That would actually be the pair that I choose. But I just want to switch it up a bit. I really, really liked Matt Gita. I thought he was absolutely class. And then Manonu has to be there. Best center to play the game ever. Like, sensational.
Now, that's why, best sense to ever play the game, I could never move him from 12 because he's just that important and that good.
Don't turn my words against me, bro. Like,
no, I'm joking. Nonu at 12 for me, and this I agree. It was between Conrad Smith and Jacques Fourie. I, I I have both of them in there with just separating the names with a dash because I actually don't know who to pick. If you,
I'm
because
I'm
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 trying, I'm
I'm
trying.
switching it. I'm switching it to the guys that really just dominated for so long. You could easily have gone Tano Umaga. I'm going Nonu and Smith. Like,
Yeah, the thing is that's the thing. It's hard to look past that combination because they were just so good. Like
yeah,
they made each other look so good. So you kind of have to have Smith in there. But I mean, Joffrey is very close, like very close
yeah,
to making
very,
that
very,
team.
very.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
if you just think about it, like the 2009 to 2015, like everyone talks about 2011 to 2015, but it kind of already started before that, right? Where they
yeah,
just took over and had this world dominance. That center combination was a massive contributor to it. Aaron Smith, Dan Carter, Ma Nonu, and then obviously Conrad Smith. I don't want to break that up. That's why I just felt, listen, let's just stick with it. Those are the
yeah,
guys that really just took the game that we love to a new level. Um,
yeah.
the All Blacks were renowned for their flary running rugby. Without them, those four guys, that does we don't say that, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, now we move on to the back three. I mean, you could have gone many routes here, right? And if I'm correct, you forgot the guy that I had in first in the back three. Um,
yeah.
I had a banner on the left wing. I had Julian Save on the right wing, and I had Israel Folau at 15. That's my wallaby.
So for some reason, I completely forgot about Abana. Obviously, he's getting into my team, but the issue is which one of the two wingers am I dropping now? Because I don't think like I haven't seen a better prime than Julian Savia. That I
Mm,
had him at 11, absolutely insane. Like obviously, a lot of people would say John Alamu, but he was before I was even born. Like we've mentioned
yeah,
that a couple of
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Um, that I can only imagine the damage that Julian Savia did was kind of what John Alamu did, and I want to give him the flowers. But obviously, the longevity of Brian Abana has to clear that because on the right wing, I've gone Ben Smith, who was absolutely
Oof.
sensational as well. So,
Oh,
so
he,
and I'm like, Ben Smith played a bit more, and he was crazy good.
he
And he
was
covered
good.
that fullback position as well. Screw it. I'm gonna go Brian Banner and Ben Smith. I don't want to take yours exactly, but Julian Savia has had the best prime that I've ever seen, and I fully agree with you on fullback. Like
Yeah.
obviously, I mentioned at the start, my dad said Christian Cullen, respect to him, but I didn't see him. Israel Folau has to be one of the best players I've ever seen.
Mm. It's
Elite.
so sad. It's like, I mean, we keep saying this, but it's so sad his career got cut so short.
Yeah, well,
No,
he's
it would
actually
have
still
been.
playing. I saw a photo today
I
of him
mean,
and
but I mean,
Samu
obviously
Kurevi in
at
Japan.
what? Yeah, I mean, obviously at Wallabies level, I mean, you know him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was always good to when you played against the Wallabies. There were a chunk of players that you knew, okay, they were going to make this tough, and he was one of them. Just think about it. If we had played that kicking ball, if that kicking game plan against the Wallabies, whilst they had Israel Folau, I mean, would
Yeah,
it be as successful? Because he
yeah.
was
I mean,
incredible,
think back at it, right? How good that Wallabies team was. I mean, Will Guinea and Quade Cooper, right? I think it was
and they were
Quade Cooper,
prime, yeah, and they were
and
prime.
then you had. I don't think Matt Gito played then. I can't remember who was the inside center and Adam Ashley Cooper. Did Curtly Beale maybe play inside center for a
He
bit?
could have, he could have.
And then Drew Mitchell on the one wing, Connor, what's O'Connor
O'Connor, yeah.
on the other wing, and then Falau at fullback. Dude,
Wallabies had a spicy team, eh? Like, yeah, when you
yeah,
think about it, they actually had a spicy team.
like
Crazy.
that's kind of. I think that was kind of Aaron Smith's biggest competition for quite a while was Will Guinea. Will Guinea's prime was also sensational. Like I feel like he's a bit underrated. I would never say he's the best nine to ever live, but I think he had a solid prime, and he played a good
Yeah,
few years.
he was. The thing is, like, I rated him, but I never saw him in the at the level of Gregan, Aaron Smith, Reed, Priya. But at the same time, like you said, I feel like he's underrated because people kind of just forget about him. but he's
Yeah.
like, it's the same as Faf, right? So Faf, as much as people may not appreciate what he does now and may not like what he does now, we can't forget how influential that guy's been, you know? So
Yeah.
it's similar. But yeah, that brings us to the end of our team. I mean, to quickly go through it again and recap. Owen Franks at 1, Marks at 2, Malhoba at 3, Etzebeth, Ritalik, Peter Steff, McCaw, Ari Surveyor. I nearly said Free Dupriya. But you had different, eh? You had
Yeah, I've just got Hooper, Peter Steph, and
yeah.
the
So he had no McCall there. Then obviously Aaron Smith, Dan Carter. We had the same. Banner, Nonu, Smith. Then you put Ben Smith. I put Julian Savea, and then obviously completely
special
agree on Falau. Yeah, absolutely.
special shout out to Matt Gita.
Shout out, there are a lot of Wallabies players that are like on the fringe of this team, like
Yeah,
Pocock, Smith, like you said, Ghetto. You could, oh, there's a lot actually.
Nathan Sharp.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gents. We'll see you on Monday, where we start building up to game week, which is insane. Can't believe it's here. So get ready for that, and it will be content throughout the week as usual. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Cheers.
Goodbye.